So just a real quick understanding of how fast these things happen and how fast you have to make a decision and how important they are. So let's say you're driving your car and you're coming up to this area where carjackings are pretty frequent, and you're at a stoplight and you see this gentleman from across the way start with a hood on, kind of pulled low, and he starts running in your direction with his hand behind his back. You have two options. We're not talking about guns or tools or anything. Do you hit the gas, or do you wait and see what happens? Option one, you hit the gas, you run into him, and then you learn that he was running towards another car on the other side of you to get into that car because his mom was waiting on him and he was running late. You hit the gas and you run into him, and after you run into him and you're getting away from the bad situation, he draws a gun and starts shooting at your car, implying that he was going to carjack you. Option three, you do nothing. He runs right past your vehicle, gets in his mom's car, and everything's fine. Or option four, he runs up to your vehicle and carjacks you. So, when you look at a situation like that and it's so like you don't see a lot of other things, like it's hard to just say like, oh, that would be justified or not. Truthfully, that would come down to, let's say you did, run him over thinking that he was going to carjack you, you would be hard pressed to, I don't know about, not necessarily hard pressed, I don't know if I use that correctly, but you would be challenged to find reasons why you were reasonable in running him over. You're going to have to convince everybody, prosecutor, jury, or whoever's judging you, that your decision to run him over was based off of reasonable, objective details. And you're going to have to use those details to convince the jury that they would have done the same thing. He was running in your general direction. There was prior history of carjackings there. He was running with intent. Maybe he was making eye contact with you, like he had intentions to come your direction. There's a history of carjacking. I think I said that one. He's got his hand behind his back, so you don't know what's in his hands. He's got his hoodie pulled down, so maybe he's trying to hide his identity. So those are reasons that you would articulate. Those are objective reasons that you could articulate to your reasonableness on doing that. But you also have to understand that if you made a bad decision and those weren't reasonable enough reasons, you're going to jail. So it's tough. It's tough, and I'm not even gonna. I can't give you like what's a justified reaction in that response. Who knows? Like you don't know. It's just a hypothetical story. But to identify the concept of making decisions quickly, making good decisions quickly, and mental preparation. The fact that you just listen to me talk to you about that. I guess I'm talking at you because you're not here having a conversation with me, but just the mental preparation of thinking through a situation like that will make that decision come much easier to you in a quicker way because you've already thought about it. So that's one of the benefits to mental preparation as far as violence goes, and preparing and visualizing different scenarios, so that way you can make a better decision on what you would do, because everybody's desires, abilities, reactions, all that stuff is different. So that changes things. One rule of thumb, just because we're talking about carjackings, but if you're driving and you have to stop, behind traffic or stoplight, behind traffic, make sure you can see their tires in your windshield. Like the car in front of me, I can still see their rear tires in my windshield. If I was too close to them, I wouldn't be able to see their tires anymore because I'm too close. So if I cannot see their tires, it's a good chance I don't have room to move or to get around them if I needed to take off at a moment's notice. I also kind of visualize where I would go. Like if I get up to a stoplight and I have a shoulder to one side, a sidewalk, and I have, an empty lane to my left, well, I'm gonna try to take the empty lane if I can, but if I absolutely need to, if I needed to take the sidewalk, I'm already aware enough of my surroundings that I know I could jump that curb, or, if I did jump the sidewalk, could I go down that street over there or whatever. And I know it sounds like, Liz, wow, you really do all that calculation right there when you pull up. And yeah, but it takes like less than a second, because it's just okay, as I'm approaching, as I'm slowing down, I'm measuring. It's no different than you measuring all the way up until the back of their bumper. It's like, okay, now I'm just going to give myself a few extra feet, and I visualized an escape route. That's it. It takes 2 seconds. And now at the beginning, when you first start doing these things, it takes a little bit longer and a little more active thinking. But once you commit it to memory, it's no different than looking across the road, looking both ways before you cross the road. It just becomes as natural as that, and there's no extra thinking involved. It's not, you don't have to do anything physical, you don't have to go anywhere to do it. You get to just stay inside your own head, think about your surroundings, and make these distinctions. So like right now, let me just show you. Car, I can still see their tires in my windshield here. I got a sidewalk off to my right, and then a turning lane off to my left. So if someone's tried to come up right now, truthfully, I'd probably go to the right, just because the traffic coming on the other side, like there's oncoming traffic here. If I were to go right, I would even if I were to encounter a car as I was going right, it would be a side swipe versus a head-on collision. So that makes more sense to me. And if they're coming up probably on my driver's side to carjack me, then I'm going to want to go away from that if at all possible. And that would limit my requirement to harm them. So just little things to think about.